How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out, means a ton. We're climbing faster to 200, and it means a lot. So, getting into it, I've wanted to talk about this for a while because even when I love a series, which I love all of the series that I cover on this channel, I can't cover a series on a week-to-week basis and not enjoy it. That would be torture. So, I love Kaiju number 8, but every series has downsides, and I don't feel like it is fair to prop a series up for all of its good points without to point out some of its negatives. And on top of this, it's kind of just constructive criticism, or my subjective constructive criticism. Obviously, this is all point of view based, this is subjective, this is opinionated. But yeah, hey, if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know because I want to be able to make it better. I doubt there's a single mangaka out there that doesn't want any constructive feedback. I doubt they just want to run off and do their own little thing. They want their series to be as good as possible, too. So, anyway, I also can't do this without pointing out some good things about the series first. There's good, there's bad, and there's ugly that kind of comes from the bad. But, anyway, we'll get there. Starting off with the good. It's Kaiju number 8. It's awesome. It's big monsters, it's small monsters, it's super-powered monsters, it's super-powered monster cops using dead monsters to make themselves super powerful. It's cool. On top of this, the art is just absolutely phenomenal in the series. We get these big, beautiful panels. We get awesome fight scenes between the likes of Hoshina and number 10. We also get a slightly refreshing main character who, while yes, he does still embody a lot of the traits of your typical shonen main character, it is nice to see him be a little bit older. I will say, it is still nice, even if he does act kind of childish sometimes. It's kind of nice to know the guy's closer to my age than, well, a 15-year-old Naruto. It's kind of nice, kind of different. I like it. There's a lot of good about this series. The bad. It actually kind of stems from one of the good parts. And that is all those big, beautiful panels. This comes at a cost. When you use too many big panels with just one character and a pose on it, and you put a ton of detail into the look of that character, yes, we get these really big, bombastic, beautiful panels of Kaiju number 8 finally revealing the fact that, well, Kafka finally revealing the fact that he is Kaiju number 8 to the Defense Force, jumping out, a whole panel to himself going into Kaiju form. It looks amazing, it's hype, it's cool. If it's animated, it would look phenomenal. And it gets you hype. I enjoy that stuff. I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. I can get hyped as a 12-year-old watching Goku scream at a screen for 5 minutes while his hair gets longer. I can get hype about a lot of stuff, and Kaiju number 8 really does a phenomenal job of hitting that mark with those big panels. However, it reaches into bad territory when you go back and look at how often and how regularly we use these big, beautiful panels. Because we start to take up way too much time in this series to where it takes us too many chapters to really get stuff done, or for things to really even happen. For a good example, chapter 32, I even talked about this in my review. The chapter's really hype. That is the chapter where Kafka reveals himself to be Kaiju number 8 to the 3rd Division. It was hype, it was crazy. But if you look at that chapter, 60 to 70% of the chapter is Kafka charging, Kafka jumping, Kafka punching, Kafka landing. That's all that happened for the entire chapter because one after another, we take pages and use 3, 4, 5, 6 big old panels and take up the entire 2 pages. In fact, I'm even going to bring up a page for you. Actually, I'll bring up 2 pages. Look at these 2 pages. What goes on here? Kafka stands, Mina stands, a random fodder dude from the 3rd Division has a reaction to Kafka standing, and there's a total of like 15 words. And it's just inner monologue from Kafka that goes nowhere. Part of it is him telling us that the arms and legs are shot. We can tell his arms and legs are shot. It was already shown to us in visual detail in very descriptive panels that took up page space to use a panel to show us that his arms and legs are wrecked. Now, we take these 15 words to tell us the same thing that we already know while still showing us in more panels. We're not pushing the chapter forward. We're not getting into new information. New things aren't happening. We're just spending time sitting here with Kafka standing there with bad legs and arms. At the end of the day, that is not good manga writing. That is wasteful. It is too slow. It's very beautiful, very pretty, it's fun, but more needs to happen per chapter. We can't take these super bombastic chapters and just ride off the fact that some cool stuff is going to go down, or a big moment for a character is going to happen. That can't solely carry a chapter. We need to fill it with more detail, more dialogue, more something. So let me put it this way. In that chapter, Kafka jumps up, punches the kaiju jellyfish, well, kaiju ball, turns it into a kaiju jellyfish. He drops back down to the ground, it explodes, and then Mina has a second where she fumbles in her mind, but then regains her conviction very quickly, grips her gun, points it at Kafka, and says, "Kafka, no, kaiju number 8, you're under arrest." Let me just paint a picture for a slightly different way we could do the chapter. If we took out some of the extra big panels and kind of split them up a little bit into smaller panels with slightly less detail to give more information in a smaller amount of time, allowing us to do more things and have more character interactions happen. Say Kafka jumps up, hits the ball, turns it into a jellyfish. We don't take the time to show him landing and then boom and all of this. Just have the boom happen up there. We actually can also take out the detail of Kafka charging up so much that he busted up his own legs and own arm. In fact, that is even a little contrived because we haven't seen him do that in the series yet. Up until now, Kafka hasn't shown us that he can charge up to, past 100% to where his body can't take it anymore. All of a sudden, now he can. We don't even need to do that. You can simply have the explosion happen when Kafka punches the ball. The explosion can damage Kafka, leaving his arms and legs useless, sending him crashing back down to the ground. At this moment, we don't have to spend time with him standing up and doing all this and standing there cool in the explosion. He already had his cool moment. He doesn't need to have a cool standing pose in the explosion. We don't need all this extra. What we can move on to is the reaction from Mina. The most important part of all of this that we expect to see. We can still do the whole shields to max, hit the deck, do this, do that, explosion goes off, Mina comes over, and instead of just a really quick, "Kafka, no, kaiju number 8, you're under arrest," we can actually see her out loud, actually see her physically fighting against herself on this. And Mina, being a character that hasn't gotten a whole lot of time to sit there and shine on panel for us, except for her couple cool moments being the captain and taking the big guy out, she could actually get a moment to shine. She can sit there and we can see confusion in her face, asking Kafka, "What the hell is going on? You know how excited I was to see you join the Defense Force again, to finally make it, knowing that you didn't give up on our dream like I thought you did." We can see these emotions start to come out of Mina if we have a little bit more time at the end of the chapter to explore these things, rather than taking up more and more time for more and more big solo shot panels. We can have a lot more of this come out, and at the end, Mina regains her conviction, grips the pistol, and says, "No, enough of this, kaiju number 8, you're under arrest." And we can have Kafka laying there on the ground, busted up from the explosion. We can have the one side of the kaiju body falling off to reveal his face, a tear dropping down his face, saying, "Okay, as long as you're safe, as long as everybody's safe, I'll do whatever you ask, Mina." And we can get a second shot of Mina with those words hitting her, but her standing strong in the conviction. If you ask me, the details I just laid out make for a, quote, better manga chapter, end quote, than what we got in chapter 32. Granted, hindsight is 2020. I have the added benefit of being able to look back and see how we could do it differently, not trying to write the chapter beforehand. So I fully admit I'm not a better author. It's just that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying these are things we can do if we spend less time on constant big standalone panels for a character we've already seen in the previous panel. So the ugly stems from the bad. When you take a look at anime, because I know a lot of people want to see Kaiju number 8 get animated. I would love to see an anime for this series. I think it would be super cool. all of this stuff, I mean, it would look phenomenal if done well. But here's the problem. When we have chapters like this go by and not a whole lot happens in them, that chapter is only enough to fill up a fifth of an anime episode, a fourth, if you want it to be paced well. If you want to stretch the pacing out and have the anime not be that great as far as pacing goes or whatever else not, yeah, sure, we can just cram it in normally. But if we don't have a whole lot happening in a chapter, that's less we can translate into an episode. That means we have to get more and more chapters built up just to get these episodes started. So when you look at these super big pretty panels, just realize if we traded that off for smaller panels with more detail and more stuff happening, that fills out an anime quicker. So if we take too much time, that's just longer we wait on an anime. And if we don't wait longer on the anime, then the anime runs into pacing issues. They run into issues where they have to start putting in a lot of filler just so they don't catch up to the manga. Having all these big pretty panels can be good, it can be bad, and it can lead to an ugly consequence if you're one of the fans that are out here waiting for an anime. 60 chapters of Kaiju number 8 will not fill up a 24 episode season the way 60 chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen did. It just won't. There's more detail and more stuff going on in a Jujutsu Kaisen chapter than a Kaiju number 8 chapter. If we want the anime to be done well, we either need more detail per chapters, or we're going to have to wait even longer. Because right now, we still don't have enough for season 1. Everything I mentioned in this all revolves around those big pretty panels, but they had a part in the good section, in the bad section, and in the ugly section. So there's a trade-off with this. There's a trade-off with a lot of things, and that's something we always need to keep in mind when we are consuming media, any kind of entertainment, really anything. Almost everything has multiple sides to it. 2 sides to every coin. Don't forget that lesson. It's a very, very important one in life. But I just wanted to talk about this. I like to try and be objective and see the good side, the bad side, the ugly side of a lot of the things I enjoy. I don't just hype everything up because, oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. No. Not even One Piece, not Jujutsu Kaisen, not my favorite series out there. They all have bad and ugly sides to them as well. Nothing's perfect, so let's point it out. Let's be a little constructive sometimes. But let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.